Yeah.
Is that off?
It's off.
Yeah, because it just came out of it. All right. Yours is off. Mine is off. Yeah, you just had Memorial Day traffic. What was that all about?
Coming into the city? I don't know.
The city. I think of New York City when I say that.
You know what? I'm more and more thinking that Tel Aviv is really the New York City. It's the city that doesn't sleep.
Interesting that you're saying
It's got tremendous energy, and I'm always
unbelievable potential. I think that it's like going to be. It's like I'm going to be completely. If I don't make my millions soon, and someone doesn't like pick up this show and make us like fabulous viral American losers. Yeah, because listen, this place, the White City, especially that they're keeping this Bauhaus integrity, is phenomenal.
Right. So it's a city that's on the water. It has a Mediterranean vibe and all of that New York City has to offer. So I really feel the energy here is, and I'm always pro New York City. It's hard for me to give kudos to any other city.
Let's just Let's just say, hi, this is Alyssa.
Oh, we didn't start. Did we start yet?
Well, we could. I mean,
okay, no, we
hi,
have to.
this is Alyssa. No, hi, this is Alyssa.
And Seth.
And we're
Short Hills, live in the Middle East.
Woo! I left off my live, but I'll be live. I let you take over the live. I get the feeling that people globally like to feel us. I know that sounds kind of weird, but let's get deeper. So to understand Tel Aviv, our summer season sort of started mid-April. Actually, my swimming season starts late April, in comparison to all our friends in the States who are enjoying a Memorial Day weekend. How I miss it so. After living in Israel, it's strange for me how we say enjoy and Memorial Day in the same sentence. But let me tell you a little bit about what I experienced walking out the door this morning. The color I walked out to was nothing less than spectacular in Tel Aviv. Gorgeous blue skies. I took my swim, waves and all, a lot of seaweed, a lot of sea in my body and nose everywhere. And I do believe from Tel Aviv to our beloved Northeast USA, all are enjoying perfect weather. So Happy summer to all. Well, to all our Australian and South American listeners, it's a different story because they're beginning their winters. So let's dive in. This week, what did we celebrate in Israel?
Well, you started by saying we celebrated Lag BaOmer,
which
is 33 days counting from when we celebrate Passover. And just to give context, our basically summer season, since we're on a Jewish calendar, starts at Passover. The weather gets nice. Yes.
So
that's why you said April.
It's so amazing. It's so biblical here.
So it's so biblical. We're on a Jewish calendar here, not a Christian calendar, which is, what's celebrated in the States. So our season, as you said, starts in April. The weather gets really nice. People start going into the water.
I love that. I love that because I once tried to explain to my dad, I said, you don't understand. If you hold the Bible, you can actually forecast the weather purely from the Bible, which is so insane.
Right.
Which is an awesome thing.
So this week, 33 days from Pesach is Lag BaOmer.
Okay.
That is a celebration. It's a celebration for a number of reasons, but a famous Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai.
Bar Yochai. I forget the rest of the song. I just love that part.
He was the one that gave us the Zohar.
Ken.
And he was being chased by the Romans and lived in the Galilee in a town not far from Nati, in Pikain, where he and his son...
Oh my God, Pikain?
Yes.
That's where that lady makes the best soap.
Yes.
From olive oil and bay leaves. Oh my God, it's Druzy.
In a cave, he, being chased by the Romans, lived there with his son, Rabbi Elazar.
Okay.
And they basically gave us this information of the Zohar.
And which can also, AKA, be considered light, right? And
sure. So the Zohar is when God created the world, he had to contain himself because God is everything in Judaism and everything in the world. And in order to make space for the world to come into existence, this is metaphysical.
Right.
You have to make yourself contained so that the world can come into existence. This is a big thought.
Yeah, we'll go deeper into that. I think I've learned this about the circle and leaving space.
10 circles. There's a whole bunch of stuff.
Okay, so he's Kabbalah.
He's Kabbalah.
So Zohar is Kabbalah, and then Hasidus and the Chabad movement took it to the next level after that. This is what I was told.
This is correct.
Okay.
But basically, the rabbi.
Can we say what, like, it's lag means, like, Omer? Can you, like, Omer is the counting, and Omer is also the month, or no?
No.
Okay. Do
Omer,
correct me.
okay. Omer is the counting. We're counting 49 days from when we basically left Egypt to when we were given the Torah at Mount Sinai. That's what the counting is.
Okay.
And Lag BaOmer is the 33rd day. That's literally what it means.
Oh, that's literally what it means. Okay.
To the counting.
Okay.
And we're commanded in the Torah to count these days, 49 days, which is 7 weeks.
Okay.
To where we get the Torah. This is the seminal event in Jewish history.
Okay.
This giving the Torah, not to one person, which is the religion narrative of all other religions. The Jewish narrative and the Jewish claim, which is a really fantastic claim, is that God spoke to an entire nation, 3 million people. We can get into that at some other point, but that's a big claim.
Wow. That is a big claim.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So what did you do for Lag BaOmer? Because I say it so nicely. How do you say it?
I don't say it nearly as nice as Alyssa, because Alyssa's Hebrew is really very nice.
No, my Hebrew really sucks. My grammar Hebrew sucks, but my Hebrew sounds kind of pretty.
So normally on Lag BaOmer, and Alyssa is going to tell what she did, normally there's bonfires and things like that. We just went out for a nice dinner, and I have to say, I was a real man. We went out to dinner in Zichron Yaakov, and I got a flat tire with my wife in the car, and I changed the tire all by myself with my wife watching. How about that? I felt like $1 million.
Wow, kol hakavod. Hold on, I would just like to do it just for the sake of things. How did you say Lag BaOmer?
Lag BaOmer.
Lag BaOmer.
Yeah.
Okay, Lag BaOmer.
Not very pretty.
Just leave off the R's and you sound like you speak the
Okay,
language.
all
Lag
right.
BaOmer.
I don't speak the language.
Lag
I don't
BaOmer.
really. You speak the language.
Open your A's. Lag. And then your Omers, your Lag BaOmer. Yeah, it's the only thing I can say.
Okay, so tell us what you did for,
My
which is really
gosh. Okay, first of all, but wait, you were driving from Caesarea to
Zichron, which is just a 5-minute drive
right,
up
and
the
you
hill
didn't
on the
see
mountain.
the fires
Oh, we saw
all
the
over?
fires everywhere.
Okay, so that's, I mean, the audience doesn't understand because there's two things of Israel being on fire and seeing the fires of Lag BaOmer, which it really, it reminds me a little Hanukkah when we're, so illuminated. But Lag BaOmer is you're driving on the highways and you literally see fire after fire after fire.
By the way, I don't know that Alyssa mentioned, but I'll mention it was 100 degrees in Israel this week, and starting fires in this type of weather.
It's not the greatest, but we will get to that other point because I know what you're going to talk about because I was a girl that had a fire, so I really understand this kind of stuff. So you did experience at least Lag BaOmer in that sense.
And I've experienced it, with my kids being little and things like this. This I didn't really feel like I had to make. A fire in Hebrew is called a midura.
Okay.
We didn't participate in that. I went out to dinner.
Okay, so your midura. What is the kumsitz? Isn't it midura? So the midura is the physical fire, and the kumsitz is the sense of sitting around with everybody and singing. Okay,
exactly.
So I went to my favorite group here in Tel Aviv. We're going to give a shout out to Chabad on the Coast and the Rabbi and Rebbetzin Eli and my dear Sarah Nadish, which they are just a treasure in Tel Aviv. So I went to their kumsitz midora in Kikar Medina. Kikar Medina.
Yeah, that's the way I would say it.
Okay. And it's great because, yes, the country, we were warned, it's very, very warm outside, only put fires, specifically told you can have a fire. So ours was very controlled, still big. I'll put a picture, post a picture.
Please do. It was a great picture.
Still big, and we had this musician. I was like, "Who's this guy? He's awesome!" And he just sang for us every song you can imagine. And all around us, everybody else had their own fires, musicians. So it was really awesome. It's like an open park, Kikar Medina. And
can I take a moment to
had controlled fires.
like we did last time, Kikar Medina, what that means in Hebrew, because we have these non-Hebrew speaking listeners.
Kikar is so we have a lot of these, which that's a whole driving test situation. But a kikar or a kikar is a circle. It's a driving circle. They are circles. Some have nothing in them, or some can be actually such a huge circle that you can actually have a playground and a playing field in these so-called kikars.
And
Medina is a country.
Yeah, the state.
Oh, okay.
So it's the circle of the state. It's like the Times Square or the square in Tel Aviv that has this designation, but Kikar Medina is the state circle that has a significance. So
when you say the state of Israel, you say
Medina?
Israel.
Yeah.
Medina Israel is
Yeah.
is the state of Israel,
Yeah.
or the country of Israel. Okay, so what happened at my Medora or my Kumsitz with Chabad on the coast is I was so enjoying, and we were making s'mores with marshmallows, but marshmallows cannot be kosher, and there's like the grossest marshmallows here in Israel. But we did have marshmallows, biscuits, and kind of weird chocolate. But all in all, it makes a s'more, and I'm so glad that these guys have that Americanness about them, that we do make s'mores at our campfires or meduras or our kumsitz, whatever we want to call them. And the next thing, the rabbi says, we have a special guest, and he's going to give us a blessing. Before I even got there, I had just listened to CNN, don't ask me why, because it's the only one I get here. And Trump had just announced that he is not dealing with Nancy and Chuck. And I was just sort of in this really funky space. So I landed at the campfire. I just relaxed, sat back, and they just announced, it was like an hour in, and they're like, we have a special guest. And the next thing I know, Ambassador to Israel, David Friedman, shows up. He gives us a prayer, and I've met him a few times. He's an interesting guy.
Sure.
And I'd like to get into that a little bit. Not today, because I don't know his full resume, but I like him.
I like him a lot, too.
And I think his knowledge, it's finally we have an ambassador from America to Israel that fully understands the country, the culture. He understands Israeli. He understands Judaism. He speaks Hebrew. Interesting guy. So he blessed us. And I was like, full circle. I miss America. It's hard. I have moments. And so for me, when I hear things aren't going great in America, it doesn't feel great. I can't say it feels good. I mean, how do you feel? You seem to...
Well, I don't miss the States the same way that you miss the States.
Well,
I have fond memories of living in the States and think it's a great place, but I don't, this is an important thing and a realization for me now that, Israel is home. The States isn't home anymore. I like going and visiting, and I have a lot of family there, but Israel is home, and in a way that the States could never be. So that's an interesting thing for me to really understand.
We had an editing issue, and you had a line that was dropped off, and maybe, do you remember what it was? But it had a lot to do with saying we're visitors everywhere else, and that this is our place for
home. So last week I was making the point that Jews, wherever they've been, really should understand that they're just guests. Whether we were 400 years in Spain, the Passover story in Egypt, in Germany, everywhere, in South Africa, in Venezuela, everywhere we've been, we are not home. We've been given an invitation to stay there for a while, but we are just guests. Mm-hmm. And it's important and to really fully take that to really a full understanding to heart, because Jews are always surprised when the host culture shows them the door. And I know that this is crushing for you, and it is a bit crushing, and I made the important distinction last week to say I hope the United States is different. My understanding of history tells me that it won't be different, because it's not been different in any country we've been in as a people. And we've felt the same way that Jews, I'm sure, feel about America, their host country, that they're home and it's permanent. Mm-hmm. But they should understand that they're guests and their time is limited.
And Judea and Israel and the Medinat Yisrael, Medinat Yisrael in the country of Israel is the home for the Jewish people.
Yeah, it's the home for the Jewish people. It's clearly stated in the Torah that we have gotten at this Sinai event, that the land is
the
ours.
Old Testament, the Bible.
Yeah.
For me, it's different, but I also, all right, disclaimer, I'm single, I'm alone. It's really difficult. America is my home. I love my American flag. I love my America. It's not so easy. That'll be a whole nother discussion, as we keep saying we're going to keep discussing these things, but this is an ongoing conversation.
I relate to that.
My home is America. I feel a huge connection here, and I'm more in awe of the country of Israel. I'm in awe of the history. I'm in awe of the Bible. I'm a nice Jewish girl from America.
Well, let's just be clear. When you meet people, Jews in this country from 70 different countries, whether
Right.
they're French Jews,
Right.
they're South African Jews, they're Italian Jews,
And
they're
we're all,
American Jews.
and the only language sometimes we have in common is Hebrew, so I have to speak Hebrew to these people. And what we have in common is that we're Jews.
Correct. And Jews from Mexico feel very, very nationalistic about their country, and everybody brings something that they can identify about that country. So I can relate as an American Jew, or the nostalgia that you have for growing up in that place, I don't think is different for Jews who even were German Jews. They feel the same thing about their country to a certain extent. The difference between American Jews and, let's say, Jews in England or France is that they haven't felt, thank goodness, the harsh sting of anti-Semitism, the anti-Semitism that is percolating on college campuses, and that's something to deal with. And whether we have
But I'm
Omar
gonna
or
say-
Rashida are just
Okay.
the start of it. It is a trajectory that never changes.
And it's interesting. Did you happen to open up the news today? I heard about this, I think, 2 days ago, but you know that the government has warned German Jews not to wear their kippah, or what we call yarmulke in public now. Have you
Yeah,
heard
but
about that?
I've heard about that.
Which is totally, I mean, I understand.
But
It's this ongoing anti-Semitism. It's always going to be a part of this dialogue. Will always be brought up.
But I don't think we should single out German Jews.
For sure not.
I think
I
Jews,
wouldn't. I don't feel good about wearing my star in the New York City subway anymore. I just think the rise of anti-Semitism, and it has nothing to do. For me, it has nothing to do with Trump. It's been on the rise.
Right. Ask Jews who are at college campuses whether it's comfortable to walk around and be pro-Israel with a Jewish clothing on, and they'll tell you will not only be verbally attacked, but they can be physically attacked. So I don't think it's different.
I feel like you and I have a responsibility to the youth, to the college kids, because I had such freedom going to college in America. I think you did also. I also know that when we had Passover, and all of my friends that weren't Jewish came in to watch me clean out my mini fridge and then put paper, or they were so supportive. They were so cute. I mean, my Jewish friends weren't supportive. They would go with me to Hillel or a synagogue. They helped me. And they loved that I kept some level of faith, and my integrity and who I was is a unique person. But I got a note from a friend of mine who's not religious at all. And she was like, listen, I am so afraid to send my kid to college. And I said, I would be too. And I feel that it's our responsibility, maybe using this podcast to help people, children understand. Maybe they listen in with their parents, and we can give you real insight to Israel, a little bit of the background. You always really know. You're my history guy. You're my Torah guy.
I have two messages for the Jewish youth.
And it's not difficult. They're simple. If you really understand the base.
Yeah. Well, I have two messages for the Jewish youth of America. America is a different place than just a generation ago when we were growing up in America. With the opportunity to start your career, get here, start it here, be in a place that is your home. This is not an easy thing for me to say to people. But Israel is the future of the Jewish people. If you stay in the States, at best, you are going to become part of a watered-down diaspora that is afraid to express yourself in any kind of
That's so
courageous...
not comfortable with me. What about your kid? He's coming back?
My kid is coming back.
Coming home.
Yeah. And they hear my message loud and clear. I mean, I don't only give this message to my kids. I give this message strong to anybody who is there to listen.
So for me, I think that's ghettoing ourselves.
I don't think it's ghettoing. I understand that.
Well, why would you turn around and say, yeah, Rashida, yeah, whatever. Well, there's Rashida and there's we're not saying it correct. Her name is Ilhan, right. Or AOC, Alexandria. Why would we hand over?
Well, I'm a realist. First of all, that now, if you look at the demographics, we have 6.5 million Jews living in this country. When the country was founded in 1948, there were 600,000 Jews. The Jews in the United States, which was the majority of the Jewish people, by best counts now is 5 million. It's not the majority anymore. And through intermarriage and all these Pew polls is going down very, very dramatically.
No.
So within
I love you and your numbers, Seth. I'm so glad you're a facts guy.
Yeah. And so within a very, very short time, the only Jewish communities that will remain in the United States are the Orthodox communities. In every family, people that are Jewish, the rates of intermarriage are off the charts. and going out 1 or 2 generations from here can't transfer that type of
Survive
gift.
through it. Well, I mean, let's look at something like Short Hills. Please do let us know. We won't say your name. You privately can give us some insight of how Jews are accepted in the community in Short Hills, in Milburn High School, in Milburn Junior High School, in Hartshorne, in Deerfield, wherever you are. I'd love to know what's going on. If you guys feel this sense of maybe anti-Semitism, or have you heard of anything going on?
I sent my kids through the 90s to the Hartshorne School, and I would say that Short Hills still has a lot of Jewish people, but the level of illiteracy amongst Jews, knowing anything about what Judaism actually means, have they ever, read the Torah, understand what their birthright is? They really have very, very little understanding.
Well, let's give a plug to Birthright, Tag Lead Birthright. So if your kids are from the ages of 18 to 26 and they've never taken a formal trip to Israel, have them take this free gift and come to Israel. Learn about it. It's easier to learn something when you're physically here and you can walk the walk.
I'll say one more thing, because I think that
But I also think they don't really teach them about what's going on in the biblical Israel.
They really don't.
Over Shiloh and all of this stuff.
It's really nice hasbara that is an outreach to show Israel in the best possible light.
It's a baby
It's a step, and it's
people,
better
than nothing.
And no one goes on that trip. We just had our niece visiting from Penn State, who was on a birthright trip. Her first trip to Israel.
Right.
Fantastic.
Right.
Her level of knowledge about Judaism is marginal.
Right.
And most of the kids that come on that, but I would say one thing, Birthright is a terrific trip, gets people to understand that Israel isn't a backward place, it's growing, the economy is growing, it's a place that they could actually consider having a future.
Okay.
I would say the next step that Birthright, and it certainly will be a message from Short Hills Live coming from Seth Kogan, I don't know, from Alyssa Frank, is don't just come for a week on Birthright and have a good feeling about Israel. Come with the consideration of staying and making your life here, because your life will be better and the life of your kids and grandchildren will be better. That's the message I want to tell people.
Okay, I'm a little bit speechless because I just have that ghetto mentality, but I hear you. I think it's very important, but I also think, why would you not think it's important to keep American kids American, Jewish American kids American? Just give them an education. Obviously, the Arabs have given their children education.
What's so good about an American? What's so good about an American education? I'm asking you. I mean, what does that give kids? I mean, they're going to college, and what are they prepared to do after they leave college? Not that much.
Well, it's interesting because an Israeli kid has to do the army. He's really like a full human being when he finally does graduate.
So what I'm saying is, the American college experience.
I don't think we should leave the diaspora Jew out of the picture. I don't think now is the time.
No, we're yelling from the rooftops that the diaspora Jew, come while you can, and not when you have to run with nothing. Come when you can. Because I guarantee you, the experience of the Jewish people is you'll be coming anyway, but you'll be coming with just the shirt on your back if you have your life. You won't be coming when you can do it on your own terms. That's always the way it works. Jews will be coming. I'm telling them, come when they can make it their own way.
Okay, maybe I hear you, and maybe it would be easier if I came when I was younger and I would have the language and I would be integrated a little bit better.
There's no easy time to come.
Right, because let's not disconnect completely of the reality of living in Israel. And I don't really want to go into that topic, which we will discuss, because I feel right now I find that what the point you're trying to make is quite strong.
Well, the point I'm making, even since I made Aliyah in 2007, is that Israel's a different place. There's full employment here. You can get an education for free, socialized medicine, a lot of the things that American kids are looking for, and a positive economic future here. Let alone, we're not talking about Jewishly or things like that. You can come to a country where you can basically have full employment. We're the startup nation. Technology is going through the roof. It's the envy of the world. So you can come here. Think of coming to, if you grew up in Short Hills, New Jersey, and you said, well, I might be interested in living in Silicon Valley. You can live in Israel and have an outstanding future that way. That doesn't even touch on the birthright that you have of discovering who you are and the gift that you got being born a Jew. We'll leave that to a different discussion.
Okay, but I think I got you, and you're gonna get upset if I say it.
I don't get upset.
God speak, and I get, and I hear you, and I think to myself, wow, imagine being rooted, that you're literally born a Jew in a Jewish country of a Jewish people, and I think that's so cool. And I think about how many Israelis are leaving Israel because it's so difficult here, and they're frustrated with the mentality, and they're frustrated with the government, and they're frustrated with so many things. And that's called reality check.
It's an excellent point.
Here I am, an educated woman, and I have a really tough time, and I do not feel included with Israelis, but I hold on to that sensibility and that connection to the land. And that seems to really hold me here. And when I hear Israelis go, you don't like it, so go, live. You've got American passport. Why? This is not a very good accent, by the way. But what I'm saying to you is like, it's not the greatest welcome. You're giving a wonderful welcome. And kol hakavod, I love it. Respect.
What I'm saying is Israel is not the perfect place, and I'm not saying come to Israel because it's a self-made place and your life is going to be easy. I'm not saying that about the United States either.
It's our anchor. It's our Jewish anchor.
The United States at 71 years old had not even fought the Civil War. Israel is 71 years old.
Oh my God, and we're full of wars.
It's a baby country. The people that are coming now.
You're saying we are helping to build a.
You are building a baby country, and you get to put your stamp on a country and help make it the future that it is. If Americans want the flavor of a Middle Eastern country that was settled by socialists from Eastern Europe to feel more American, then they need to come.
Oh, you mean the liberals? The Democrats should come? Then they feel the socialism? Okay, finally you've opened up my head a little bit. That is very interesting. And then the women on the wall give them a little area, too, where they could be their socialist selves.
If the women on the wall want to effectuate change at the wall, they need to come and live here, not just put their stamp on from the United States.
Opinions and everything and control us.
Come and then be full-throated in what you want to do. Don't lecture us from your ivory towers in
call it the
New York
cushy
City.
Chair. I call it the cushy chair politics. Very interesting. Wow, after going through crazy weeks, it never stops here. We've had, I'm going to bring it up, but we're not going to go into it. We've had Madonna edited, Nancy Pelosi edited. We've had Jerry Nadler sending him a reflet shalema. Trump is playing golf in Japan and is meeting the new emperor. And I'm wondering about if we have war with Iran is in the horizons. I know I checked to see where my mask was just in case. And I know you're dying to talk about the topic of abortion, which on the way here, I just learned that big poster on the side of the buses, because abortion is the word hapala, it's talking about anti-abortion. And you found something else that was interesting. What paper are you reading?
Well, I'm reading from the Jerusalem Post. This was last week's Jerusalem Post as the abortion fight was heating up in social media and other places. Mm-hmm. It was being talked about because of the Alabama law and the Georgia law.
Yeah.
So the title in Friday, May 17th news, the Jerusalem Post was, as abortion fight heats up in U.S., termination in Israel remains easily accessible. So I'll do my little Rush Limbaugh and just read.
What the hell was that noise?
Oh, Rush Limbaugh shuffles his papers.
Oh, well, in a studio, that doesn't sound too good.
Yeah. So it says, abortion is legal. I just want our listeners to know what abortion is here versus what it is in the States. Abortion is legal, easily accessible, and state-funded in Israel. Although the state nevertheless does not automatically grant the right to terminate a pregnancy, it must approve it through an abortion board. Israeli women must seek approval for a pregnancy termination from a committee comprised of a specialist in obstetrics and gynecology, an additional medical specialist, and social worker. So
I know all about that.
Okay, so
we have female Tel Aviv groups, and we have been discussing abortion, and I've had some private conversations with people that have had abortions here.
So I think that I've been seeing on social media, it's a very hot topic, and people really go to their corners when talking about abortion. We started mentioning it last week. Right. I'm not anti-abortion. Right. I want to make this clear. I'm for states' rights.
And I am pro-choice. pro-choice across the board.
But I'm going to ask you, what does pro-choice mean? Does that mean that if a woman's health is
that means my womb and my uterus are not in the hands of Cortez or Rashida or Ilhan or any other human being in the U.S. Congress?
Let me ask you.
I mean, get out of here.
So if you get pregnant,
right,
and medically we can save you and the baby.
Right, but that means I'd have to go to full-term pregnancy, which it's dangerous on a woman's body. No. Pregnancy can be, yes, there's potential, but why does a woman have to go through that for 9 months? And where is that man in this picture?
The man is still there.
Really?
And let's say,
really?
Because if it's...
What, is he getting pregnant, or is he getting his tubes tied so he doesn't get anybody else pregnant? Why are you laughing? It's not a laughing matter.
It's not a laughing matter. A man and a woman get intimate and create a life together.
Exactly.
So if the man...
And one has a storage container and one doesn't.
Right. Okay, so now let's say the woman wants to have an abortion and the man says, no, I want that baby. So you have the right to end that baby's life if the man wants it. He was part of the creation of that life.
I think that when you speak about life like that, I've really been racking my brains because you famously on Facebook put up some real awful charts. And I think there's a whole lot of women that are like, yes, Alyssa, keep going. So number one, I questioned all your charts and you questioned my questioning. But I'm not too sure because people keep it to 15 weeks. And your chart showed pretty much a fully developed baby.
Nope. At 20 weeks, the baby is about the size of an apple.
Right, but that's really 1% of abortions that are really happening at 20 weeks. So the normal...
First of all, it's more than that.
Okay, and halachically, we have to talk about Jewish law because take that into consideration. Sure. Because I'm
Jewish law is pro-life, and if the mother's life is at risk at all, it needs to be the final determination. Where medical discussion is going now is it's very clear there is in utero surgeries to correct nature of the heart or any defects within utero if two people who have made this life decide that they want to do everything possible to save it.
I got all you and your medical and all of your and more of your Godspeak, but I'm talking
this is not Godspeak.
You're 17, you're 18, you're 19, hell, you're 20 or 30 or whatever you are in your life as a woman. I can't even believe it. This is why I'm avoiding this conversation. And we don't have much time, so we're going to end this conversation very soon. Your condom breaks, your birth control it fails. Anything could happen. Why all of a sudden do I have to take the next 9 months?
Because people have been polled.
And I know that sounds selfish also on my part.
People have been polled, and the arguments that you're making are less than 0.5%. Most people, when they're asked in an anonymous poll after going to Planned Parenthood or an abortion clinic, their reason for having the abortion is out of convenience. They're not ready economically to have the baby or things like that. All I'm trying to say is the discussion needs to move is that's not a reason to end the life. If the mother's health is at risk, that's something fine.
Or the child, it's incest or rape, something horrific.
But those are 0.5% of the cases.
I got that. We're talking about
99.5% of the cases it's just not convenient. The woman feels she's not economically able to support the baby. Someone else might want to adopt the baby.
I know many friends that are married and get pregnant and have had abortions because it would have destroyed the marriage.
And that, I'm saying, as uncomfortable it is not a reason necessarily to end a life.
Okay. I'm going to take a break, or how we say in Hebrew, a hafsakah, because we have just been chatting a little too long. So on that note, I'm bringing this to a close. We're going to not close it. We're going to continue the conversation. Keep posting on Seth's page to his ugly charts because they freaked me out because the one about the taking the baby out part by part and putting the baby in.
That was an abortion doctor, so we need to listen to what he has to say because he was the one who changed his mind. He was performing abortions, and then when he realized that he was actually ending a life, it changed him. That's why it's an important video to see, even if it's uncomfortable. But let's give a few shout-outs.
Oh, you want to shout it out?
Yeah.
We're not belittling abortion,
No.
the conversation. We're not belittling your choices. We're just on a time constraint, so we're going to change the topic with respect to everyone that's ever had to make a difficult decision. Who's your shout outs to?
We have two this week.
Oh, Will.
Will Laverty.
Oh, Will, you're the best.
Isn't Will the best? I played baseball with Will in Short Hills Millburn Little League, and so he gets a shout out. We were Blue Jays together, played in a lot of ball games together. And from Baltimore, we have Mark Hertzberg, who is a new listener and gave me a lot of interesting feedback and loves the show.
What's his
and
name
loves
again?
Mark.
Hi, Mark.
Yeah.
Great. On that note, shalom, shalom. Shalom can be high and shalom can be bye.
Peace from the Middle East.
Lots of light.